Hello, I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre. The video is about my campaign for an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council, which now all of the contiguous star systems, the Pleiadians, the Alpha Centaurians, the Sirians, and others belong to and oversee Earth. And Earth and our solar system has no representation. And so I'm saying it's about time that we had representation, because the affairs of our solar system, including the very design of Homo sapiens sapiens, is determined by this council. So that's among the issues that is discussed there. In addition to, on this planet, the issue of being an alternative USA presidential candidate at a time of increasing chaos because of sort of an internal civil war, external attack with bioweapons, and sort of an intra-reptilian species fight. They're all at the leadership level: Communist China, the US presidency, Democratic Party. They're all part of the reptilian power structure over we, the community of human souls. And so the video that you've seen or seeing was centered around your being able to vote for my candidacy through a petition, which was at change.org/Alfred2020. Well, on June 16, 2020, today, 2 days after this interview was made, we were informed that change.org deleted my petition as Earth representative for the Regional Galactic Governance Council and as an alternative US presidential candidate, as it violated, quote, community standards. I guess that change.org has not been out in the community, which is demanding freedom of ideas, visions, concepts, and speech lately. Therefore, please email us your participation, support, and your vote. Email us at peaceandspace.org. Incidentally, just on the change.org, calling our petition, quote, violating community standards, on Friday, today is Tuesday, I received a text saying, "Hi, Alfred Lambremont, this is Christina. I'm a campaigner, not a robot, from change.org. I think your petition has real potential, and I'd like to give you some advice over text in the next few days to make it bigger. Are you up for that?" That's Christina. And I said, wonderful, I'm just working on the petition now, so please, let's move forward. That's from change.org itself. So the right hand, the left hand doesn't know what's talking. As soon as we started getting some traction, boom, on June 16, 2020, big tech in the hands of reptilians with the reptilian agenda of war, disease, crime, and poverty, cancel my petition, which is where you could vote for this campaign of a new Earth and a new America, a renewed America. And so instead, please email us your participation, support, and vote to peace@peaceinspace.org. And again, please enjoy and share the interview. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre, and this is COVID Gate for June 14th, 2020, which is the 3rd anniversary of the Grenfell Tower massacre. And we're here with Seven, who has lost family members in the Grenfell Tower massacre. Seven, over to you.
Good evening, Alfred, and good evening to everybody who's watching wherever you are in the world. It's a somber day for me and for many people across the world who remembers the Grenfell Tower massacre, and that's what we need to refer to it as, a massacre. 3 years on, nobody has been made to account. We all witnessed something that is too horrific to even recall. And yet we have a situation whereby nobody has accounted for it, not even on a level of negligence. You know, if you want to remove all the so-called conspiratorial, even though conspiracy is pretty much part of the criminal justice system. If we want to remove, you know, theory out of it and just basically look at the fact that people died horrifically in that tower and recognize that it's impossible for that building to have gone up in 15 minutes, the level of fire that went up in that building, a concrete building, it would be impossible for that to happen without a hell of a lot of help and assistance. We have a situation whereby an outrageous atrocity took place, and nobody 3 years later has been held to account. I find that extremely disturbing, and it speaks volumes of where we are as a humanity. The people who died in Grenfell Tower, they didn't deserve to die in the way they died. There were babies that were thrown out of the window. The desperation and fear and terror that affected everybody inside the building, as well as the family members who watched this atrocity from outside the building, and also obviously on mainstream media who filmed the whole thing. The magnitude of that day, I don't think there could be words, but one of the things that I will say, even though there are no words, the people who are gone cannot speak for themselves. You, humanity, are their voice. You are their appeal to be heard. It's down to you, effectively, whether or not those people ever get recognized. I ask you, do not let their lives go so tragically in vain. Do not allow such a thing to happen, because if you do, there'll be worse atrocities. COVID is an example. We don't know how many people are dying in this whole situation, not because of a virus, but because of things like 5G and people with little care or consideration for their brothers and sisters in humanity. So I ask you to keep the light alive, be their voice, You know, my heart goes out to all the family members, including my own. As many of you know, I lost my Aunt Marjorie and Ernie, and also a couple years on, my cousin Ronnie, and it was Ronnie's mother's sister, Marjorie, that died in the tower. And it is up to us to be their voice, you know, to sound the alarm and to ensure that their lives were not taken so horrifically in vain. So, you know, keep sounding the alarm. Justice must be served. It must be served. For this crime, justice must be served. My heart goes to everybody who lost someone, all the people who were traumatized. My heart goes out to all of you. I'd ask you to light a candle for everybody that perished and keep it alive. Ensure that justice for Grenfell does happen. Thank you. Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you, Seven. I've prepared a memorial tribute for June 14th, 2020, to be given today on the occasion of the Grenfell Tower massacre that I'd like to share now. So I'm just going to go here. And this is on the anniversary of the Grenfell Tower massacre, a memorial presentation, June 14th, 2017 to 2020. And this is a presentation of the forces and the principles, the forces of light, of our souls of light that are moving forward for justice, moving forward for evolution, and moving forward for a cause that to be for Earth, for our planet Earth, that now does not have representation on the Regional Galactic Governance Council, that really does determine matters for our planet, which is a human planet. The Regional Galactic Governance Council includes the Pleiadians, the Alpha Centaurians, and other advanced human systems. And planet Earth is not represented there, even though we are a human planet. And so I'm proposing that we be represented there, and I'm asking for your support as an Earth representative on the council. And I'm also promoting my candidacy as an alternative USA presidential candidate, because for the two major candidates are reptilian-souled individuals. They're in human bodies, but their souls are reptilian, and they follow the reptilian agenda, which is essentially war, disease, crime, and poverty. And you just have to look at what they're delivering, and it's war, disease, crime, and poverty. It may be different rhetoric, but that is what the United States is falling into and what the planet is falling into. We now have a planet-wide disease that the United States has had a major role in, either through There's evidence that they had a major role in it, that it was created at the CIA by a weapons lab through commission or omission of negligence. So I'd like to go through this presentation of facts and evidence. And I'm starting at an unusual place so that you can see what our work is and how the current reptilian-souled regime has sought to suppress this, what we would be bringing to the United States, and how they've sought to suppress it, and what widespread effects, hidden widespread effects it's had. This is one of the projects that I've been involved in, the Omniversity Reader. This is from its table of contents, the Omniversity Reader, introduction by myself. One of the chapters, Multiverse, Omniverse. Another contributor, Andrew D. Bashago. He was a US chrononaut, a time traveler in the secret DARPA time travel program. At age 9, was regressed to a past life by a US Department of Defense official. And this is part of Omniversity, which is an evolution of the universities. Universities study universes, which are organic singularities of time, energy, space, and matter, but which don't study and which actually gatekeep any studies of multidimensional phenomena, like life after death, the life of the soul, based on science, not on belief, the multidimensional universe, extraterrestrials, etc. And so the Omniversity Reader is a project that you can see here I was developing as of Sunday, May 3rd, 2020, with a literary agent. Then we have some correspondence, the Omniversity Reader, Sunday, May 3rd. Hi, Alfred, it was a pleasure talking with you this afternoon. I like the wide-ranging subject areas that an anthology such as this could bring forth. I think it's so interesting that Oxford University Press had approached you earlier. Perhaps extraterrestrials and the law is what your essay could be about. Just a suggestion, you would serve as the editor of the volume and contribute a piece to the book. Let me know what kind of feedback you get from your faculty members, and perhaps email me a reply with some possible subject areas titles that would be included in the book. Future studies is something I have just become familiar with recently. I think the timing of a book like this is perfect, especially with the status quo being upended with this virus scare. Look forward to hearing back from you, and let's talk again soon. All my best, Eric L. Miller, Buy Books Literary Agency, 3ibooks.com. Well, so you can see here what Omniversity is about. You can go to omniversity.info. You can see the type of talks that we have there on exopolitics and the dimensional ecology of the Omniverse. I'm one of 3 authors that in 2014 began publishing books on the Omniverse, universe, multiverse, Omniverse. The Omniverse includes the spiritual dimensions studied by science, the afterlife, the intelligent community of souls, the spiritual beings, and source or God. And this is to now bring that whole area into objective knowledge. Here we have, as of May 3rd, 2020, the University of Minnesota Press in Minneapolis, where literary agent Eric Miller told us he was going to bring the Omniversity Reader that we are currently developing. And so we had been in that time frame developing it, and lo and behold, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, what occurred on May 25th, 2020, the day after my birthday, May 24th, 2020, an event took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which in fact, whatever the intention of that event has had widespread and unforeseen consequences, not only for the United States and for the world, and now has awakened so many people. And my contention is that this went directly from the conception of the project at the University of Minnesota, directly out through the University of Minnesota Press to the events of May 25th, 2020, which have to be investigated further. But now there's a direct connection there, which they were attempting to suppress, and now they can no longer suppress justice. They can no longer suppress the Omniverse. So how was it that all of a sudden, following Omniversity on May 3rd, and then Justice on May 25th, that I find myself running for re-promoting my initiative as an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council, and now an alternative USA presidential candidate. Well, a colleague of mine from Miami, Florida, published this on Twitter just a week and a half ago. He writes, "Everyone has their own unique lives, experiences, needs, and priorities. Therefore, each person's political choices are personal and absolutely correct for them. I am realizing I will not vote for Joe Biden, either for president, given his support for COVID-1984 shamdemic, some people call it the plandemic, and presumably for forced vaccinations that will end humanity as we know it. I have a certificate in community health from the Harvard School of Public Health, so I know a bit about that. And I share the view that the planned COVID-19 vaccines are a travesty." He continues, "I may vote write-in for Alfred Lambremont Webre, ufologist for the Jimmy Carter White House, confidant of Laura Eisenhower, fluent in Spanish, and more." So I saw that, and it was just a confluence of events, and which propelled me forward. And the same reasons that are really behind my initiative as an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council, that is to bring human representation to the human Regional Galactic Governance Council from our human planet, which is now suffering from reptilian oppression by the reptilian souls who are in authority positions in government, finance, media, extended to the presidency of the US, such that the United States really is now suffering under its two major presidential candidates being reptilian-souled individuals. And under the law of vibration, they're bringing the entire country into a reptilian vibrational field, which is disintegrating the country. I also had a lucid dream in 2019. That's a photograph of Casa Padre in Brownsville, Texas. My family home is in Brownsville, Texas. That's a former Walmart, which had been turned into, under the administration of Donald Trump, into a war crimes level cage of children separated from their parents. And even now, under the International Criminal Code, Donald J. Trump this week has sought sanctions against the International Criminal Court. I used to shop at this Walmart, and it's been turned into a venue of war crimes in the United States. I had a lucid dream in 2019, and in that dream, I was in the house next to my Weber family house at 620 Acacia Lake Drive. And there I was in the dream, I was learning how to run for US president against Donald Trump from a very wise woman who was teaching me how to do it. So let's take a look at the gematria of US President Donald John Trump. And gematria is like looking at the name, and from the name out comes the inner soul meaning and vibration of that individual, what's happening at their soul level. And this information was sent to me by an expert in gematria. Okay, so this is the gematria of Donald John Trump. So we're looking at it, words like death squad. You know, that's kind of the vibe that he sends out. America is no more. You know, under his words might be America first, but what's happening to America? It's disintegrating under the reptilian vibration of his soul. It's disintegrating, polarizing. Rothschild debt. Donald Trump is indebted to the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds own Resorts International or control it, and that's who who financed Donald Trump's casinos in Las Vegas and Atlantic City. The deep state, that's who is really behind Donald Trump. I mean, the QAnon propaganda is that he's opposed by the deep state, but that's just propaganda. Lucifer is God. Donald Trump is a Satanist. Ivanka Trump, his daughter, is a Miss Mason. She is the beauty queen of the Masons, who are Satanists.
So Alfred, can I ask you what the number configurations, this is what gematria uses. It's kind of like numerology, is that right? Just
there's
listening.
There's a numerology, and out of it comes this. There's certain programs, there's like algorithms, and the algorithms generate these kind of significators that come out. You know, North Israel, Donald Trump's closest handler was Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, when he was the prime operator and controller of the false flag of 9/11. And that is proven. And I was a judge, along with Judge Connie Fogel, on the 9/11 War Crimes Tribunal. And Benjamin Netanyahu was one of the principal Israeli operatives on the 9/11 false flag operation, which Donald Trump then, when he was a presidential candidate, then deflected and said, oh, it was the dancing Arabs instead of the dancing Israelis. When Benjamin Netanyahu would visit New York, he would sleep in the bed of Jared Kushner when Jared Kushner was growing up. So Benjamin Netanyahu and Jared Kushner are the handlers of Donald Trump on behalf of the Mossad and a fundamentalist Zionist organization. You aren't dealing with a democratic civilian person. You're dealing with a person whose conscious and subconscious and soul are deeply integrated with the reptilian agenda of war, disease, crime, and poverty. So this is the gematria of Alfred Lambremont Webre. This was given to me independently. This is supposedly what sort of the vibration that my soul carries, which is a human soul. I have a human soul in a human body. Jesus Christ. God info aligns. Ray, God on earth. Lord, raise angel. Who is Christ? Jesus, Father, the Christ key. Lord of hosts, Messiah Christ, Christ new life. God hidden in zodiac. God died on cross. USA president. That's in my gematria. I carry that in my soul, the vibe of USA president. Drain the swamp. That's in my gematria. They probably stole that and gave it to, the reptilians steal that. Donald Trump has told 16,000 plus lies since he's been president. It's record numbers. Christ gematria, Holy Spirit, Jesus is alive. Jesus died an idol. Heaven Intel Tech, real person Jedi, sovereign being, superstar DJ, Christ cross, genius Messiah, the great reset. They're talking about the reset, right? Heaven is the goal, the hidden Messiah, a rock star leader, the King Christ.
Alfred, can I ask you, did you receive your gematria a long time before, or at what point did you get it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I had the dream about running for president, and then I launched a presidential candidacy and put it out there. One of my principal supporters was Sally Alcordi, who's running for mayor of New York on the vaccine-free ticket. And a person who is an expert on that, on the gematria, sent me the gematria of Donald Trump and my gematria. And so I got it after I had launched a.
Was it a long time ago? Was it years or months? Or?
No, it was in 2019 when I was running for president in 2020. but then I just stopped I stopped my candidacy because but now I stopped my candidacy and I decided to just concentrate on my focus on the initiative to be an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council.
Right.
But now with the pandemic, the world pandemic, and with the chaos that the United States is descending into, and with the dangers of the mandatory vaccination, and with the fraud that I think is being perpetuated by both presidential candidates, that, Trump is saying, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. Oh, I was told in November 2019 that there was a pandemic coming, but nothing, he's just lying through his teeth and deflecting blame. I thought that somebody of responsibility should stand up. So that's why I reactivated it. And then when my colleague in Miami publicly said, well, I can't vote for Biden, then, I said, well, I took that as a clear signal that I should just launch it up again. So
Right.
all of this is just happening in response to things that I hear from what I think are representative signals from the people.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Now these
So
are just some points at the soul level, and you can look at the work of Gary Peter Carlson. We have on the planet a regime of oppression of the human souls by a series of reptilian souls that are incarnate in human bodies and that control key positions of authority in politics, in government, in military, in media, in finance. And these souls need to be replaced by human souls.
So just to be clear for people who are coming across for the first time, and they might hear you talking about human souls and reptilian souls. I describe it as demonic possession, but essentially we're saying the same things. When you say reptilian souls, basically, are you describing the fact that these people have a propensity for extreme cruelty? They're unaccountable, they're wicked to other people, they seem to be malevolent more than anything else, and seem to be preoccupied with the demise of humanity. Like you said, war, disease, crime, and poverty. That's the only thing that they offer humanity. They don't offer any form of redemption, or it's extremely low vibrational. Anybody that goes into these places, they seem to be extremely low vibrational, and they do not have humanity's interests at heart. We're going into the golden age of ascension, and we need the beings like yourself of light, of love, of truth, of justice. And so I just wanted you to, just for people who come across these terms for the first time, I think most people now, when you say reptilian or whatever, I think people will look at these people, reptilian soul, will look at these people and think, hold on a minute, there is something wrong with them. I mean, I'm not somebody that talks about reptilian, but I tell you, when you say that, Alfred, and I sit back and I look at all the atrocities and the evil, the wickedness that is going on, and I have to say to myself, there's definitely something wrong with these people. They can't just be doing this evil for the sake of it. So continue, Alfred. Well, just to explain for people who have not come across these terms before.
Yeah, we're dealing with different exophenotypes at the soul level. And so they're principally draconian, that is, they're antithetical to humans. Their orientation toward human souls, toward the community of human souls, is to exterminate humans. They're out for possession of the planet Earth. And there are also different categories of reptilian soul. There's the lizard human soul, which is not as draconian as the Draco soul. Gary Peter Carlson described Donald John Trump's soul as, quote, just above mass murderer. You know, he's just above that.
Wow.
And don't forget that he's been reality TV talk show host for many years. And you can do a lot of smoke and mirrors on reality.
I was under the impression that he came in to genuinely do something, but got maybe compromised along the way. That's what I felt personally.
Well, that could be, but he's handled by and compromised at a soul level, and at the soul level, he's following the reptilian agenda. And the key issue, you look at a key issue, and the vaccinations say, well, you say, oh, it's voluntary, but at the same time, he orders the Department of Defense to buy 500 million vaccination doses and 300 million vaccination injectors. And the airlines make it mandatory to have a vaccination certificate to travel, and professionally to have any sort of professional work, or to go to school, or for school children to attend school.
It's a form of extortion and bribery. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they will have to be vaccinated. So you're overseeing an extermination program, but you're enough of a reality talk show host to kind of go, woo, and to confuse everybody. You see?
I mean, a lot of people are saying that
know how to confuse human souls, or they think they do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, there is a lot of confusion, and this is a time that we have to have new people like yourself come forward.
What are the two main things that Trump has done during the pandemic? Well, the three main things that he's done. Number one, on March 26, 2020, he approved Bill S-893, which approved the entire 5G agenda, so that the US will be the preeminent 5G country in the world. That is an extermination. And we have had testimony. We have had testimony on COVIDgate that 5G is being installed in the schools that will exterminate the children, because the 5G, when turned on, affects the carboxyhemoglobin in the blood through the electromagnetic radiation, which gives the symptoms of coronavirus. So then they will make the vaccinations mandatory, which will have the nanoparticulates, and will have the toxins affecting the DNA of the children, which will degrade their DNA and effectively demote them to as human children. Trump has also, as we said, promoted the vaccination agenda by ordering 300 million injectors and 500 million doses, and in effect, put all of the infrastructure there for the vaccination passport. And as to the coronavirus pandemic, the USA has the largest number of deaths, even though China has 1.4 billion population, and the US only has 324 million by comparison. And there's evidence that the coronavirus itself was a bioweapon developed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, and was given in the US military contingent that accompanied on the World Wuhan military games in October 2019 to Wuhan, China, where 42 members of the staff, the hotel staff that the US contingent was staying at, became ill with the COVID-19 virus. And the US intelligence agencies alerted the White House, which had disassembled the virus response team in the White House, and they alerted the president and the White House that there was a serious pandemic in China, which the White House deliberately ignored. It seems to me that that is an act of omission, at best through negligence, at worst as an act of genocide. That seems to me to go along with the fact that QAnon is in fact state disinformation propaganda to capture progressives. I saw it personally in Cuba, where you had the myth that Fidel Castro, he only collects a salary that's equivalent to the salary of everybody else, whereas he had private islands and mansions and had billions of dollars stored overseas. And QAnon published falsehoods about me that my shows and evidence were responsible for the secret trial and execution of Senator John McCain, because they wanted me to go, oh, isn't that wonderful? I helped execute, my evidence helped execute this traitor, Senator John McCain, in a secret trial. Whereas a war crimes judge, that's a total abdication of the rule of law. So QAnon is a lawless departure from the rule of law. And I've seen that before firsthand in the Cuban Revolution. They're still doing it here to take apart society and the rule of law in the United States. Moreover, in QAnon's memes that their children, either tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of children liberated from underground bases, tremendous lack of evidence. And I've been broadcasting nonstop on the disassembly of the pedocriminals, as has ITNJ, okay? And what's more, they all say, well, send them to Guantanamo. That's another meme. Guantanamo base. I grew up across the island of Cuba in Oriente province from Guantanamo. Guantanamo belongs to the sovereign people of Cuba. Guantanamo has been stolen by the United States unlawfully. They're overextending the 99-year lease that came out of the Spanish-American War under Teddy Roosevelt And the United States has turned Cuba into its toilet by unlawfully abrogating the sovereign territory of Cuba to its Guantanamo base. They should use either the FEMA camp in Alaska, where there are 2 million war criminals, or some other base. They're just using this as propaganda. Send them to Guantanamo. No, stop abusing the sovereign territory and people of Cuba. So those are just some points. So
can I just make another point in assertion in there as well, because you know they're saying that there's a lot of mass arrest. I saw a video, they said Obama has been arrested, he's been assassinated, and I mean there's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff that I just don't believe at all. And I say that along when you say about the children have been released. There's been no evidence of any of these things. There were just people making videos, and none of it appears to be, you know, real. It just seems just like QAnon to just be a distraction. And so I just wanted to add that, Alfred. Thank you. So,
yeah.
So this part of the information. Is this where people can actually participate or find out more information about this campaign?
Yeah. You can go to and you can participate in the campaign by actually voting. The way that you can vote now, because they have changed the reptilian-sold infrastructure of the United States, which is the federal system. It's a state-by-state system, but they did it, have changed it so that my colleague who said he wanted to write my name in, he's from Miami, Florida, he could not do that because they've changed it such that even if you want to be a write-in candidate, you have to be an approved write-in candidate, which means you have to get petitions with signatures as if you're going to be on the ballot. So you might as well be on the ballot. So they've made it impossible to be a write-in candidate. So there is no participatory democracy in the US. It's all structured and governed by the machine.
Is it a rich man's game, would you say, Alfred?
Totally. And so the way to vote here is go to change.org/Alfred 2020. You can actually vote by signing the petition, Alfred Lambremont Webre, for a nurse representative to Galactic Council and USA President. And that petition will be presented to the US Electoral College. They're the people that actually choose the president under the Constitution. That'll be there, and also be presented to the Earth's people at large, and to the United Nations General Assembly, and if the ETs show up, we'll present it to them also. The Regional Galactic Governance Council showed their ships over New York on October 13th, 2010. And then they showed it over Moscow, and they showed it over London in January of 2011. So they're ready to come down. And this is our platform. Our platform is truth and disclosure. This is our platform, both as an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council and as an alternative USA presidential candidate. In truth and disclosure, we're holding a full public disclosure of the presence of intelligent civilizations in the Earth's environment and a global referendum as to whether and on what conditions humanity should enter into relations in space travel, space colonization, space governance with organized, intelligent universe, multiverse, and omniverse society. New energy, teleportation, and time travel, a full public disclosure of secret, new energy, 0 point, free, anti-gravity, exotic, new energy sources, now available for application on Earth. Public implementation and rollout of sequestered free energy technology for powering dwellings, human settlements, transport and propulsion, communication, and many other areas. This is the end of the fossil fuel era. Implementation of teleportation as a global, national, regional, and local transportation system, replacing polluting fossil fuel vehicles, trains, buses, trucks, autos, and their intensive land use in highways, railways, and urban freeways, as well as of a regulated time travel public education system. This is what advanced planets are like. They all operate on the basis of teleportation. Recognition of animals as sentient beings with rights. Worldwide grant of personhood to animals with concomitant rights against murder, slaughter, torture, and cruel and inhuman treatment. Special intelligent civilization status for cetaceans, including whales and dolphins. Development of healthy, safe, tasty protein meat substitutes for humanity's consumption and nutrition. Now, secure online direct democracy at the local, regional, national, and global level. Secure virtual technology now permits the implementation of Swiss canton democracy worldwide. There is no more need for intermediaries such as city councils, state or provincial legislatures, national parliaments or congresses, or even, ultimately in time, a gathering of nations such as the United Nations. Experience over the centuries has shown that the powers that be buy off all intermediaries. Virtual direct democracy adapts secure virtual technologies and provides virtual hack-proof citizen voting at the municipal, provincial, state, regional, national, and world level. Under direct virtual democracy, the entire city votes on municipal laws, the entire nation votes on national laws, the world population votes on global standards, all duly informed by government staff at the respective local, national, and world level. Municipal government, for example, is tasked with efficient picking up the garbage and managing the city according to laws passed by virtual democracy. It's like the Swiss canton system where in a village, the villagers go to the center of the village and they vote directly. You don't have city councilors that are taking on payoffs or, you know.
Yeah, and we have the blockchain technology as well, which is another way to ensure transparency, you know, in this actual in the whole voting process. Because as you know, the blockchain is a ledger system and it helps to be able to ensure that the information put into the ledger is distributed amongst everybody who is actually part of the blockchain. So it makes it much more difficult for people to be able to use corruption as we have. We have a lot of tampering with voting systems, etc. This is why voting has become a big man's, a rich man's money game, you know, and it's got nothing to do anymore with the benefit of societies or people. And that's something that we have to change, Alfred. And so I think most people will welcome this move, you know, to have somebody like you in a position that will actually, they can trust that will get the job done. Do you know what I mean? We haven't had that. I don't know if there's ever been. I don't know if there's ever been anybody in any position of power that has genuinely been there for the people. And if they go in there trying to do it, the difficulty is that, you know, you've got all these Wall Street characters that have all got their insecurities and their power plays, and they're only interested in controlling people, you know, ruling and dominating people, and of course ensuring that nothing messes with their pay packet, you know, and the money that they have going underneath the table. You know, they don't want to mess that up, so they have their mates in positions of power, and it's got nothing to do with the rest of the world. It really hasn't. So this is quite revolutionary, actually. The whole move for you to even consider this is quite revolutionary, but obviously it would have to be a whole different world that we would be entering into. I think your just presence would change the timeline anyway, because I can't see you wanting to live in the White House by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. Yeah, this is a different sort of a world, and so this goes along with it. In fact, whenever I talk about this, I say reinvention of money as a human right and public utility, like water, air, water, or electricity available for creative investment, a public money utilities. And then people say, why not elimination of money? Because on advanced planets, they don't have money. And because you're moving into 5D, where you have instant manifestation with telepathy. So we're dealing with a lot of those ascension related issues. And so that's why I put reinvention of money. So, you know,
yeah, it's also a service to others paradigm rather than service to self, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, the abundance, what one person is abundance, what you want for yourself, you want for other people, you know.
Right, exactly.
You treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah, so this would have a global ban on private banks and control central banks like the US Federal Reserve System, which the Rothschilds, that's how the Rothschilds created the US Federal Reserve in 1908 by creating the bank panic of 1908. Then they sank the Titanic by getting all of the people who were against the Federal Reserve onto the Titanic, and then they sank it. I mean, that's how the reptilian soul people think. The Rothschild are probably the leading reptilian soul family, and a ban on privately owned commercial banks, support of complementary currencies, licensing of consumer cooperatively owned banks, imposition of heavily criminal penalties. You know, so this is an area that's going to be, we'll just see how it works. Social guarantees in the forms of guaranteed annual income, healthcare, elementary and secondary and post-secondary education for every person on the planet for life, funded by universal state pools, tax on all financial transactions, and by post-graduation contributions to education plan, and more implementation of traditional and alternative as well as advanced extraterrestrial medical technologies where they can replace body parts. You know, there are a lot of advanced technologies that exist. World debt forgiveness. Right now, see, the problem with money is that money is an imported, government, religion, and money are the three Anunnaki and Orion control technologies by which other exophenotypes use to occupy and control Earth by using religions, governments, and money. Boom. They are basically control technologies. They aren't empowerment technologies. So here what we're doing is we're getting rid of all those. We're getting rid of debt and money, world debt forgiveness, government forgiveness of all public and private debt, a world bankruptcy for a bankrupt system, and then to the debt fiat money prison system, criminalization of charging interest on money and of the fractional reserve lending. That's the end of that whole thing.
So how would you deal with things like, we have problems with organized crime, theft, fraud, and taking over of, you know, lots of people have been stolen from these people that are in positions of power. How would you address that, Alfred? Because, you know, for a lot of people who have had their whole life stolen by these people, you know, we would want recompense. You know, we want
and that's what we have
from us to be returned.
Criminal prosecution and conviction of the War Crimes Racketeering Organization and restorative justice for war crimes victims. Criminalization, rigorous prosecution of the International War Crimes Racketeering Organization for planning and implementing a genocidal depopulation, including and not limited to planning and triggering wars and armed conflicts through regional and global radiation, genocide, and ecocide through depleted uranium and the nuclear agenda, planning and implementing environmental war attacks, including geoengineering, weather warfare, HAARP, chemtrails, directed energy weapons, plasma, scalar weapons, robotic weapons, genocide of humanity, famine, vaccines, GMO foods, DNA manipulation, and more, carrying out a program of assassination, COINTELPRO terror against activists, researchers, and social inventors in the multiple areas of peace research, new energy, food and nutrition, radiation, democracy, and electoral politics, carrying out as doping a lethal 300-year-old conspiracy in order to addict humanity to narcotics and to criminalize useful substances such as hemp for profit and enslavement, the transhumanist agenda of population mind control through nano weapons, EMF, and other weapons, abolition of big tech, monopoly of online video broadcast and communication, telecommunication, social media, and the establishment of consumer cooperatives to create online video broadcast and communication, telecommunication, social media, rescue of children held in pedocriminal circumstances, and in rings and rigorous investigation, prosecution, trial, conviction, and incarceration of pedocriminals and pedocriminal rings and organizations accountable for systemic pedocriminal activity under the color of treaty, church, government, child protection agency, family guardianship, or otherwise. There is no statute of limitations on murder, imposition of heavy criminal penalties, violation, and astronomical fines for individual organizations and nations. So, you know, so this is what the reptilian agenda has been doing to the humans.
Wow.
Boom.
And this is what people are crying out for. What you have written here, Alfred, I think the whole world would vote for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you what, people have been crying all over the world of all of those complaints for centuries. And there is no relief at all. There's just more evil and more evil and more evil and more evil. This is music to so many people's ears.
You see,
and I think a lot of people will resonate.
I think that the reptilian agenda in Israel, they grabbed this and they gave it to Trump because they were getting exposed, and they gave it to Trump so he could run on a fake version of this. And that's what they did in Minneapolis in May. You follow me?
I think
enfranchisement of the state power of monarchies and religions worldwide. The UK monarchy and the Vatican are examples of the abuses that occur where two institutions based on non-democratic principles, divine right of kings and popes, are given established state rights in a modern democratic world. Criminalization of the war industry, a criminalization of and global ban on war, genocide, and depopulation in all its varied forms, overt and covert, a ban on war as a dispute resolution method, a permanent ban on the design, production, or sale of weapon systems including nuclear weapons, space-based weapons, directed energy weapons, scalar weapons, plasma weapons, conventional energy weapons, a permanent ban on the maintenance of offensive armed forces, imposition of heavy criminal penalties for violation, astronomical fines for individual organizations and nations. Now, how will these suggested collected actions for a positive future take place along humanity's positive timeline? The basic equation of a positive future suggests that these collective actions and positive and policies and variations of them to achieve essentially the same goals will manifest out of the synergy of the positive timeline and humanity's awakening to unity consciousness. The positive future equation reflects a new level of collective manifestation by humanity and its individuals resulting from the synergistic dynamics of the positive timeline and a humanity awakening to unity consciousness. And here's a link. You can go to positivefuture.info, and there's articles there on time science and the positive timeline. In other words, it's according to science. Now, some people say it happens in 2020, some people say it happens in 2025, or in that timeline. We're dealing with like a parasite that is occupying these offices.
Absolutely.
We're not dealing with like reality, we're dealing with a parasite that is occupying these offices, and you can't see it. But both the Democratic and the Republican candidates are reptilian soul. In the British model, the British monarchy are reptilian souls that have been oppressing the Brits since time immemorial. Why the Brits want to continue with the monarchy, I have no idea. It's like, you know, it's the definition of insanity.
It's mind control, Alfred.
In the parliament, they're all, you know, it's filled with reptilian souled individuals. The very committee that was supposed to deal with pedocriminal activity in Parliament was shut down by the Parliament.
That goes to show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
you know,
pedocriminals dealing with pedocriminal activity. So
the level of corruption is unbelievable, and there is no hope in sight as long as these same people are there. But what I would say is, just for clarification for anybody who can't get their head around when you say reptilian soul, I would say that anybody who doesn't understand, what you need to think is just cold-blooded, cold-hearted, stone-hearted, wicked people. That's another translation for exactly what Alfred just said. You know, you need to understand, you know them by their deeds, you know them by their fruits. And this, what you've just asserted, Alfred, is in line with what the majority wants to experience, the golden age. You know, the cleaning up of the evil, you know, there's been so much evil with no end in sight. It's year after year after year of another cover-up and another cover-up and another false flag and another atrocity. And it's got to the point that people have had enough. And they just bring another one, and they think that we're just going to continue with this and just keep living like this. And they don't have any real ability to realize, wow, their actions impact on other people. And it appears that they don't give a damn. So we have to give a damn. We have to give a damn enough to say enough. It's enough. We've had enough. And this is a model that will rescue humanity from the grips of this horror. You know, another way of saying what Alfred is saying is monsters. We're talking about people who are monstrous in their behavior. You give them, you know, they kill people in the tower and you go to them with evidence and they want to kill you. You know, they abuse people, they uphold evil, they uphold monsters. And victims who are being trodden on, abused, they literally have hatred for. People like me, they have hatred for, because they've made themselves wealthy out of me and I want to be paid. I want my slice of my cake. I baked it, I worked on it, I created it, but they have a mentality that they want nobody to have anything. If you are a victim, they have absolute contempt for you. This is an old paradigm. It's a draconian, you know, I mean, the words to really describe, anybody can just look into history and see how many of the atrocities that we've seen, we've all witnessed, has ever been given justice. It's just the same old machine. You go through the courts and they have somebody in the courts that's going to get rid of it, so that basically it's covered up. It's like there's so many things covered up, the carpet can't hold anymore. So we're in a new timeline. This is a new timeline. And what you're presenting here, Alfred, is like sunshine. It's a ray of hope. It's where humanity can, something they can get behind with sincerity and know that you would genuinely have their interests at heart. I would vote for you every day of the week, Alfred. I would vote for you every day of the week. People know I'm not a liar. People know I'm sincere. And I say that if I would vote for you, I have actually signed this for anybody who wants to know. I would, because I would put Alfred there, because I know that he would get the job done. But you would have to have the most powerful team to get rid of all of these other people. And that's doable. Once everybody in humanity says we're going this way, we're not going that way. That way's finished. There is no government there. They're running slave trading. That's all we're getting. It's slave trading. There's no policing forces. There's no peacekeeping forces for those of us that are people. You know, there is nothing. We have to start from scratch. And we have to work with the fact that everything that is there is actually essentially ours. We've just got people in there that shouldn't be in there. We just have to swap them over, that's all. Because it is humanity that is upholding this rotten system. It's we, the people, that are going in there, that are the administrators and the, you know, the office clerks and the, you know, it's the people that keep this running. The public sector workers, as our lovely Candice was talking about, that are being abused. Imagine working for Alfred and working for people like Alfred who are part of the golden age. It's a different world we're talking about. And this is what we have the ability to manifest. We just have to believe in it. We just have to say, that is finished. Put a seal on it. We can't do it anymore. We're tired. We want to be able to just get up in the morning, live our lives without wondering if they're going to try and kill us today or tomorrow, because that's where they've reduced life to. They've reduced life to whether or not you're going to be killed today or tomorrow with a vaccine, with a chip, whatever it is that they're using, 5G. We have all of these sinister means being utilized to destroy humanity. And like you have here, Alfred, I do not consent. My body, my rights, it's my life. And I say that every single one of you at this point, because there is now reports coming saying that in the UK, they plan to have every single person living in the UK vaccinated by Christmas. This is what their intention is. They're putting their intention out there. So you have to put your intention out there. It can't just be a few of us. Do you remember that movie Spartacus, Alfred?
Tell me about it.
I think it was Kirk Douglas. And there's a scene in the Spartacus movie where one person said, I'm Spartacus. The next one said, I'm Spartacus. And the next one said, I'm Spartacus. And then it was like a chorus of people all saying that they were Spartacus. And that is the kind of solidarity that we need, Alfred. And so I'm just applauding you for this, what you're doing here. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of vision as well. You're a vision. I know you're a visionary, and I'm going to share this with the world. I don't tell people this very often, but I would say Alfred Webre is Alfred Lambremont Webre. Judge Alfred Lambremont Webre is the most genius mind I've come across in my life. I know many geniuses, I've met a few of them. And the level of sincerity and work that this wonderful man, and I'm so proud to sit with you, Alfred. I really am. I take it as a seal of honor that I have the privilege to be able to work with you and have done for the last 5 years. And I say this sincerely, people. I watched this man do incredible work at a speed of lightning that I can't fathom it, to be honest. He's right. I mean, he writes all of this stuff and then he's got books at the same time. And if you look at how much information is on his blogs and the news articles that he runs, he's been running this place for the longest time. It's just time that we give him the acknowledgement that he deserves. You really deserve. You know, honestly, there's not one of those people running for candidate that can stand a patch in your shoes, Alfred, and I say that sincerely. Not one. I'm not being biased, I'm being honest. Because if I didn't think that, I wouldn't even sit here in the first place. Honestly, people, I really mean that sincerely. This is an opportunity to not just support Alfred in getting the filth, the beginning to make sense of how we can navigate through the mire, filth. It's a ton, and it's billions of tons of bullshit that we have to wade through. And with this is a light, it's a candle. And with other candles, with people starting to visualize, okay, there is the possibility of creating something other than what exists currently, because it doesn't work for anybody. It works for a small amount of people, and it's not even working for them. It's not even working for them, because I cannot imagine anybody being happy engineering other people's demise all day, every day. I mean, when do you get time to actually enjoy anything if you're sitting there engineering the rest of humanity's demise all the time? I can't imagine that they're happy. So anyway, that paradigm, this represents possibility, choice, asserting authority as well, and actually standing up and saying, no, 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 no. You've had your fun, it's over. Yeah? And so I just wanted to say that, Alfred. I would say that if there are anybody that is like-minded, that wants to support this effort, as you know, conceivably to be able to put this forth, because it is people that is running that barbaric, murderous system. It's not running itself, it's people that are running it. So those people have to migrate out of that system like a mass exodus and start. This is why we've created a new system, a new structure, which I haven't unveiled. Some people have seen it, but I haven't really unveiled it because it still has a lot of work to be done on it. But it's an entirely new system, and it's very consistent with what Alfred is bringing forth here. Sorry, I'm a bit hot. And so I want to commend you, Alfred. Thank you for sharing that with the world. And I endorse Alfred Webre all day of the week, all day. I'd vote for you every week, Alfred. And I don't think I've ever voted for anyone, but I would vote for you. I honestly would. And that's saying a lot, because there's not a lot of people I would vote for, to tell you the truth. Sorry.
No, thank you.
Is this the last slide? This is do the consent.
Just, you know, just some more. This is contact, where you can find me everywhere. And again, you can vote. And it's very easy. Just go to change.org/Alfred2020. We're going to take this to the US Electoral College, you know, boom. And we'll take it to the UN General Assembly. We'll take it to the people of Earth. And we'll keep on taking it till the vibrations just go phew, and cosmic changeover. And we know that it's going to happen.
So I want to say something, Alfred, just another thing, because I try to share this on Facebook. And sorry, people, I'm just really hot. I've got my fan here, but it's really warm in here, and I've got lighting all around me, so it's very, very warm. I tried to share this on Facebook, and it didn't allow me to mail it to people. It says share it with your friends, but then when you try to do that, it says, oh, sorry, you can't share it at the moment. So we know that sabotage is in effect.
So, that,
one second, Alfred, let me.
Is from the Rockefeller line, and they are arch reptilians, and they're opposed to human rule. So that's why. So
I get that, but what I wanted to say,
other means.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say was, can you write in the comment, I vote for Alfred? That's what I want you to put it in your comments. If you agree with this, creating a new governance, a new system of governance, because it's not going to be Alfred. The idea that one man will be able to do everything on his own is absurd. Okay, it's a group effort. It's going to take everybody coming together with Alfred, putting the energy, looking at everybody's skills. What can you do? What can you do? I'm good at administration. I'm good at law. Okay, basically, everybody would have to get behind Alfred as a force of energy. And this is why I say, what we need you to do is to put it into the comments. Then we get an idea of how many people are supportive of Alfred. We know that Alfred used to have something like 100K followers on any video, any one video. If you look at any of Alfred's old videos, you'll see something like 100,000 people would be watching Alfred's video. I've seen more than that. However, now you'll see 1,000. That's because it's being doctored with the algorithm. So we don't have a gauge of how many people, because we know, I've tried to find you on just looking using my and if I type in your name to try and get onto your channel, I can't get onto your channel. So they're shadow banning us in different ways. So we have to have different ways so that people can actually make their declaration known to the universe. So as much as we need everybody to sign this, you should put it in the comments as well. Put it in your own video comments and re-upload this all over the place. We have to start becoming dominant because we are the 99% and we have a situation where the 1% is dominant, and that just doesn't even make sense mathematically, does it? It's ridiculous. So we need you to put, if you vote for Alfred, we need you to sign this, but we also want you to put it into the comments so that we can get an idea, because there's a lot of sabotage taking place, people. And so we need to be able to have a gauge so that when they try to make it look like Alfred doesn't have enough people following him, we know that it's a lie, another lie, you know. And obviously the I do not consent declarations, we need you to be doing this. We need you to make these declarations. This is how we're going to birth the new world. Being afraid of them wanting to vaccinate us and chip us is not going to get us out of it. We have to be proactive. We have to be proactive. And Alfred has kindly put himself forward. It's a huge job, but he's a very learned man. This is a man, we've got an icon. We've got an icon who knows about these things, who's been in health industry, he's been in law. So all the areas that we need somebody to represent us, there is somebody. And hopefully we'll get somebody in the UK that will want to do that. I would never put myself forward. I have to say, I would never put myself forward. I just want to basically help to make this happen, help to make this happen. I want to get my money and be able to populate it, to fund it, you know, to be able to see this dream reality. You know, if it's written for Alfred to be the president, you will be. You will be. I met a woman who, I won't say it actually, because maybe she wouldn't want me to talk about it. I was going to give a story of somebody that had no intentions of running, but the people wanted her and she got in. She didn't have, that was not necessarily what she was planning to do, but she got in because the people wanted her and she was even unprepared for the position. So, you know, these things happen, Alfred. I have absolute faith in you. And I have faith in humanity that they know a good thing when they see it, you know? And I think we've had enough. I think the world has had enough. I think that the corona, COVID madness tipped people over the edge. It really did. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the, you know, it was the end of it. There's no coming back after this one, is there? So I just wanted to say that, Alfred, because we need to find ways, and please people report on this, because publicity is a major part of winning elections and being able to assert that we want something else. We don't want what is currently in existence. So, you know, those of you who've got a channel, you know, post this, write a featured article about him, you know, contact the Washington Times and said, you know, Alfred Weber's running for US president candidacy. How do you say it, Alfred? Whatever. You get my point. But what I'm saying is that write to the Washington Times. You know, if a lot of you write and say you want to cover this story, maybe they will. So, you know, let's push this forward. And Alfred, do you want to say anything to end this great day today? Even though it's a very, very sad day, but I'm sure the forces of the souls and the spirit of all those people that have died are rooting for you right now, because through you they will get justice.
Yeah, I think it's extraordinary, the synchronicity that this all came together on one day, which was the 3rd anniversary of Grenfell Tower, when in a Luciferian sacrifice, your family was sacrificed. Which, I mean, it's just shuddering. It's horrible, and that goes up to the world Satan to have done that. It goes up to Buckingham Palace. It goes up to all of that to have done that. And and so on the 3rd anniversary, here we are, you know, and offering a portal into a future of light and of the golden age, you know, of an earth which is rejoining universe society, and the golden age and representative democracy, free energy, the overthrow of the reptilian occupation, which has been since the Lucifer Rebellion, and the Anunnaki occupation, and war, disease, crime, and poverty are a thing of the past. So I just want to say that it's amazing, this synchronicity, and we should just look at the wonder of it. And
the Most High is the greatest of planners. Did you know it's also Donald Trump's birthday as well today?
Oh, I have been looking at that and saying, how could he be evil if that is true? Is it his birthday for good? It's also the birthday of the U.S. Army. It's also the birthday of the United States flag. So it's everybody's birthday. So everybody wins.
Wow. Well, so we have the opportunity to do something. Out of the pot, the mud grows the lotus flower, is the saying. And out of Grenfell, you know, the dream of justice, the need for justice, the importance of justice, must live. It must. And so I hope that their memory will be an inspiration for anybody who has a calling to that type of profession. To, you know, we need new people to go into law for the right reasons, because a lot of the people that currently are doing law are working for the bar and working for basically working for corruption. Even if they want to be able to bring about justice, the whole system is kilted in the way of supporting monsters, protecting monsters, and ignoring the most vulnerable children and women and you know, those of us that are being abused. The whole system is kilted away from those who have a divine right for recompense, and it is kilted in the direction of protecting and defending absolutely barbaric, mentally disturbed, evil, absolutely demonically possessed people, honestly. You know, Alfred calls them reptilian souls. However everybody calls them, we know it's time for change. That paradigm serves nobody. It doesn't even serve them. It doesn't serve them anymore. And we need to put a full stop on it, because, I mean, even the statement that we will vaccinate everybody by Christmas, this is people that are bullies. We will murder you all by Christmas, whether you like it or not. These are bullies. These are terrorists. To make a statement that they're going to do it against people's wills, I mean, that's a paradigm that we don't need anymore. Do you think any of those people are going to be vaccinated? They're not going to have any bar of it. All of these laws that they have, do you think anybody's going to be going into their house dragging out their children? No. They have one rule for themselves and then another rule for the rest of us. And it's for us to now assert our own right given by the Most High. I do not consent. We need to get those declarations done, because silence is consent. Those of you who say nothing and you do not vote for your own survival or your family's survival by saying nothing and doing nothing, you have consented. To do nothing is not an option. It's not an option to do nothing, to watch these videos and just sit back and say nothing and complain. If you've complained and you haven't done anything, you haven't signed a declaration, you haven't asserted your own life force, you're part of the problem, unfortunately. So we need, you might have your own solution. It might be better than this. We'll bring it forward and then we'll support you. But support those of us who are doing something rather than just sit and do nothing. That's the point. That paradigm is finished, because if you entertain it anymore and you do not assert, we do not consent to what you're doing anymore. We don't want you anymore. We're tired of it. These are our positions of power. These are our government buildings. We do not want it anymore. We don't want to be abused anymore. Once you assert that power, they'll have to listen and respect it. Yeah? As long as you assert it in a way that is respectful and honorable, you make them know, do not consent. This is where we want to go now. We want new representatives. And thank you, Alfred, for being one of them. Thank you. Thank you for giving people hope, being a light in the darkness. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre. The video is about my campaign for an Earth representative to the Regional Galactic Governance Council, which now all of the contiguous star systems, the Pleiadians, the Alpha Centaurians, the Sirians, and others belong to and oversee Earth. And Earth and our solar system has no representation. And so I'm saying it's about time that we had representation, because the affairs of our solar system, including the very design of Homo sapiens sapiens, is determined by this council. So that's among the issues that is discussed there. In addition to, on this planet, the issue of being an alternative USA presidential candidate at a time of increasing chaos because of sort of an internal civil war, external attack with bioweapons, and sort of an intra-reptilian species fight. They're all at the leadership level: Communist China, the US presidency, Democratic Party. They're all part of the reptilian power structure over we, the community of human souls. And so the video that you've seen or seeing was centered around your being able to vote for my candidacy through a petition, which was at change.org/Alfred 2020. Well, on June 16, 2020, today, 2 days after this interview was made, we were informed that change.org deleted my petition as Earth representative for the Regional Galactic Governance Council and as an alternative US presidential candidate, as it violated, quote, community standards. I guess that change.org has not been out in the community, which is demanding freedom of ideas, visions, concepts, and speech lately. Therefore, please email us your participation, support, and your vote. Email us at peaceandspace.org. Incidentally, just on the change.org, calling our petition, quote, violating community standards, on Friday, today is Tuesday, I received a text saying, "Hi, Alfred Lambremont, this is Christina. I'm a campaigner, not a robot, from change.org. I think your petition has real potential, and I'd like to give you some advice over text in the next few days to make it bigger. Are you up for that?" That's Christina. And I said, wonderful, I'm just working on the petition now, so please, let's move forward. That's from change.org itself. So the right hand, the left hand doesn't know what's talking. As soon as we started getting some traction, boom, on June 16, 2020, big tech in the hands of reptilians with the reptilian agenda of war, disease, crime, and poverty, cancel my petition, which is where you could vote for this campaign of a new Earth and a new America, a renewed America. And so instead, please email us your participation, support, and vote to peaceandspace.org. And again, please enjoy and share the interview. Thank you.